Are y'all ready to experience one of the most classic examples of projection ever? What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous bastards? Welcome back to The Raging Atheist. I am your boy Nakasuchi, and today I'm going to be looking at Barak Lurie again. I say again because I've never looked at him on this channel. I did look at him on a channel, the Godless one, that I was doing, that I was trying to be a little more PG, a little better for the algorithm. I've since pretty much given up on that. I want to thank everybody that subscribed to the channel. Maybe I'll actually get back to that and try to do more PG content. But right now I'm trying to different experiment with something completely outside of atheism. And I think it's going to be a bit better than doing atheism. You know, like, not that I'm not going to be doing atheism anymore. I'm always going to do The Raging Atheist until they take The Raging Atheist down. But it's going to give me something to unwind to, something just pleasant to do, something that's not so serious. And I think that that's much needed, even if it does take some time away from The Raging Atheist. So I was talking about a book that he had written over on the Godless one, and I never really got too far into it. I grew kind of bored with it. But Barak Lurie is this guy who is anti-atheist, an atheist bigot. I'm just going to put that out there. And he likes to project, and he likes to, I think, lie about being an atheist himself. And we'll get into that as I cover what I'm covering. Now, somebody had reached out to me on Facebook and had told me that he has a channel now. And I went and checked it out. And today I'm going to cover one of the videos that I found there.
Look, the bottom line is they just don't want to hear from you. They're afraid that if they actually listen to you, it might plant a seed in their head that might cause them to start believing.
Now, that's how he starts his video. I didn't cut that anyway. That's the very start of this video. And they, when he says they, he means atheists. And he's saying that atheists are afraid to ask believers why they believe. Because if we ask them that, well, then we might start believing ourselves. Now, I said that this was one of the most classic examples you're ever going to get of projection. And I say that because that's exactly what most Christians do. Very few Christians actually want to speak to atheists. In fact, I'm going to put out there that I think Barak Lurie is a Christian that doesn't talk to very many atheists. He likes to pretend that he used to be an atheist, but he clearly doesn't know what we think, how we act, or how we conduct our business.
One of the most fascinating things that I have noticed about atheists is that they will tell you what you believe as a believer. They make assumptions about everything that you believe, but they never actually ask you what you believe. It is remarkable to me, even from comments that we get on this YouTube channel about our videos, how clear it is that so many of the commentators who write don't actually watch the videos upon which they are commenting. So they decide that believers are nonsensical and they believe in fairy tales and so forth. But
classic projection. I don't see atheists going around telling Christians what they believe. I see atheists getting into conversations. I see atheists trying to understand. I see atheists raging out, pointing the finger. Sometimes I'm that atheist. But we're never saying, oh, you believe this. We're trying to understand, all right, what kind of a Christian are you? Because there's so many different kinds of Christians. And most of us, even I myself, try really hard not to broad brush you. But you're broad brushing us. All atheists are like this that you're describing, and that's just not the truth. Atheism is a very diverse demographic. We come from all walks of life, ilks of life, all kinds of former religions, all kinds of politics, right-wing atheists, left-wing atheists. There's going to be your hardcore atheist that's going to go really hardcore at you. There's going to be your soft atheists that are going to try to be your friends. So you can't put us in this box, just like we shouldn't be putting you in any boxes. And that's why I see most atheists are actually trying to have conversations with Christians, understand their theology, and then go from there. But I do see Christians doing that all the time. You guys most recently saw it in my conversation with Brother Jay. Brother Jay insisted I was a Satan worshiper, even after I told him that I don't believe in Satan anymore. And Christians go around saying this shit all the time, that we are the tools of Satan, that we are basically Satan worshipers. That is what Barak Lurie is saying we do to them. Classic projection, y'all. You don't need to find any other examples. And yo, atheists do troll just like Christians do. So if we watch your video, we might troll you. Doesn't mean we didn't listen to your video or the things in it, but we might troll you. That's the internet. And as far as you believing in fairy tales, that's what we think. We consider your Bible to be a myth, a fairy tale, if you want to call it that. And when you believe in said thing, well, yeah, we think you believe in a fucking fairy tale. If you want to label it a fairy tale, we think you believe in a myth. I personally like that better.
Those are not the topics that are involved. And the same thing applies when it comes to your discussions with your atheist friends. They will never ask you, why do you believe what you believe? The times that they do are the times that they are going to open the door and eventually discover God themselves.
What you talking about, Willis? I always ask, why do you believe what you believe? That's the purpose of having a conversation, is to understand why they believe in what they believe. And they come to the conclusion in a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways. Some people have personal revelations they describe, or personal experiences they describe. Some people were raised into it. I think most people were raised into it. I think you believe what you believe more than likely because you were raised into that. Now, you claim to be a former atheist. I find that suspect. But even if you were still raised in a civilization that accepted Christianity as the dominant true religion. But it's not atheists that I see going around dictating what Christians believe. We're trying to understand where you fall in that very wide spectrum of Christianity. I do see Christians going around telling atheists what we believe. This guy is doing it here. He makes a statement at some point in this video to where how we are all, science and progressives and trying to change the world. And I think I'll actually cover that, so I'm probably getting ahead of myself. When that's just not the truth. Some atheists are very right-wing conservatives. Some atheists aren't big on science. I'm not one that's like big on science. Yes, I accept evolution. I accept scientific consensus usually. But I'm not one that's going to sit here and pretend to even fucking understand most of it. Atheists are not something you can put into a box. We just aren't.
That's what opened the door for me. When I actually asked my friends who were devout Jews, devout Christians, why do you believe what you believe? I want to hear from you, because my impression of what you believe is that it's very shallow and that you just want to protect yourself from eternal damnation or hell. And so maybe I'm missing something. Tell me what I'm missing.
So Barak Lurie here is saying that that's how he stopped being an atheist, because he started asking people, why do you believe in this stupid, silly shit? Right, but he gives himself away, because if he was an atheist, he wasn't a very deep thinker of one. He wasn't thinking deeply, because most of us, remember our Christian pasts. And I remember, even though I was afraid of hellfire growing up, as a Christian, especially in my teenage years and going into adulthood, it wasn't hell that I was thinking about, it was heaven. And I don't think most atheists believe that Christians are only Christians because they're afraid of burning in hell. That would be foolish. Most of us understand the society that we observe. Most of us understand that Christians were raised into that. And when you're indoctrinated into something as a reality at the very young age of 2, 3, 4, well, then that becomes reality.
This is a conversation that very few atheists, if any, will ever ask you. And if they do ask you, like I said, they're on the road toward believing in God. Why is this? They'd much rather think of themselves with a smug superiority. And I'm not even saying this as an insult. People naturally want to feel that their position on theology, on politics, musical taste for that matter, that they're superior.
No, that's just classic projection. You feel like you're superior, Barak Lurie. Most of us want to be right. And most of us think we are right. And that's why it's so goddamn hard. Because it's really hard to convince somebody that they're wrong when they think that they're right. And that's why we have to have these conversations. That's why atheists, some of them devote their entire channels to just asking the question, why do you believe in what you believe, and let's have a conversation about it. Entire channels devoted to it. Hell, my channel was devoted to it for a long period of time. I'm starting to try to get away from it and back into the edited content, but I still do that. A good chunk of my channel is still devoted to that question of finding out why Christians believe what they believe. It doesn't make me afraid. I've been doing it for several years. I haven't came any closer to finding God again. If anything, it has driven me farther away from God because I have seen the true shittiness of Christianity. You know, I thought it might have been confined to just some of my more fundamental family members, but no, like pretty much all Christians I talk to are shit. There's been a few exceptions. That doesn't mean I stopped doing it, and that doesn't mean that gives me right to be shitty back to them, and I really should work on that. And that's something that I'm really trying to work hard on here in therapy, is not be rage unless I absolutely have to be rage, unless it's absolutely called for. I don't want to be shitty to people just because they're being shitty to me. I want to be that better example. But again, we just had this classic projection. Barak Lurie is an elitist. He's a very rich man. He's worked in government. He's worked for conservative administrations. He's written books demonizing atheism. So I'm going to cover this dude. And I want to thank the person who sent me the channel because I didn't realize he had a channel. And the best thing about his channel is he's been doing it for about a year now. And he's only at 733 subscribers. Like, dude, invest some of that capital you got into your fucking channel and it'll actually make you some money. Or maybe don't, because, you know, your anti-atheism rhetoric is dangerous. And I think that more people that think like you do will just lead us back into the darker ages, and I'll have to worry about being burned at the stake and shit.
Their belief system is better. And so for an atheist, they see themselves as advancers of a world of science and progress. You, on the other hand, are not. You're for going backward. You're for not listening to science.
Some atheists are like that. I will straight up tell you, I am like that. I believe that science is leading us into a better world. I believe in progress. I believe in, equality for everybody. I want a better world. A better world than the one we've always made. A better world than the one religion made. A better civilization for everybody that's inclusive of all. That's what I want. But not all atheists are like me. They're just not. Some atheists are very conservative like you are yourself. And, what you're saying is kind of the truth here. Because you are a conservative. You do want to conserve that old world. And we are fighting for a new world. That makes us natural enemies. And we are going to combat each other. And it is my belief that your side will eventually be that losing side. But again, we all draw to our corners. But I have to hope that your side, that January 6th storm the Capitol side of America, is the side that will eventually lose.
And this is why the atheist doesn't want to ask you questions. Because if he did, you would answer him with what you know to be true. The reason why you believe in God is not just because you took some leap of faith, but also because you began to see the wisdom and the beauty and the science, yes, the science of God.
Like, what science of God? What science of God are you talking about? And he'll go into it for a couple more minutes, but he doesn't really get too specific. So I didn't find a need to share that. About how everything's one with each other, some stupid shit like that. There is no science of God. There's a myth of God. There's a theology of God. There's no science of God. The only way there could be a science of God is for God to stop being absent, start being part of the physical world that we can observe such, and create a science from it. But what we have here is just this classic case of projection that you get from almost every Christian out there. Not all. Not all. Some Christians are cool. Some Christians will just accept you and not see you as a bad person. But most out there are going to project. They're going to project onto you their own insecurities and the things that they do that they know inwardly are wrong, so they have to deny it of themselves. I'm going to put this challenge out to you, Barak Lurie. I don't think you've talked to a lot of atheists. So I'm going to invite you onto my channel. Anytime you want, I'll be as cordial as I can possibly be. And I can ask why you believe what you believe. And you can ask me why I believe what I believe. But I have a feeling you won't do that. I want to thank you guys for the view. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. Hit that bell so you're notified every single time I make a new video or have a new live stream. And for my patrons, you guys are the shit. Forever patient with me, forever supportive of me. I'm planning soon to maybe start a new series on Patreon to where I react to people reacting to music. I think that might be a little interesting thing, just something to start, you know, make Patreon a routine for me. If I can make it a consistent routine for me, well, then I can provide you guys some content and thanks of your support over there. So thank you, patrons. I love you, and I'll see y'all soon.